Hey, 6th grade, we're going to get going with divisibility rules. Now, before you get too far into this video, you need to make sure you have the handout that I sent home with you guys today at school, because you're going to fill this out and bring it back to school with you tomorrow instead of writing all of this down in your math binder. So divisibility rules are kind of important. You're going to use them for the rest of your lives, I promise. So in your notes, you need to get down your learning goal, which I already have there on the screen for you. It says, I will begin to learn and apply divisibility rules. So make sure you hit pause and get that in your notes. I will begin to learn and apply divisibility rules. And the definition for divisibility rules is tests for determining where one positive whole number is divisible by another. You'll have to hit pause again to get that in your notes too. Guys, I know this all sounds confusing, but as we work through this video and even through the next few days of class, it'll start to make more sense. Don't worry, I promise. For a number to be divisible by 2, you'll know it's divisible by 2 if the number ends in 2, 4, 6, 8, or 0. So basically, what that means is if a number has an even number in the ones column, then the number can be divided evenly by 2. So I'll give you a couple of, whoa, what's my pen doing? Let's see. I'll give you guys a couple of examples, maybe. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Let's try blue this time. See what this little guy's going to do. So here are a couple of examples. Let's say we come up with the number 674. Aren't you glad I don't write like that at school? All right, so 674 ends with a 4, so that means it's divisible by 2. But if we just put down the number 47, the number in the ones place is a 7. A 7 is not an even number. It is not 2, 4, 6, 8, or 0. So 47 is not divisible by 2. All right, our next divisibility rule is for numbers that can or cannot be divisible by 3. And in order for a number to be divisible by 3, the sum of the digits in the number must be divisible by 3. Sounds kind of weird, I know, but I'll show you what I mean. So let's say we have the number 234. Well, if you add 2 plus 3 plus 4, you get 9. Is 9 divisible by 3? Yes, because, yeah, okay, so anyway, back to where I was going. Is 9 divisible by 3? Yes, it is, because we already know that 3 times 3 equals 9. What about if we tried a number like, what in the world is wrong with my pen? 422. Well, when you add the 4 plus 2 plus 2, you wind up with 8. Is 8 divisible by 3? No, it is not. So, therefore, the number 422 cannot be divisible by 3. For a number to be divisible by 4, the number formed by the last 2 digits is divisible by 4. So let's take a look at the number 500. Whoa, where'd that go? Uh-oh. Darn it. I'm seriously having the worst luck with this thing today. All right. Well, for Pete's sake. Okay, so the number formed by the last 2 digits is divisible by 4. That's how you know when a number is divisible by 4. So let's take a look at the number 528. Okay? And we need to take a look at the last 2 digits of this number, which would be the 2 and the 8, 28. So if I think back to my skip counting or multiples of 4, I know that 4 times 7 equals 28. So that means that 528 is divisible by 4. What about if we try something like 922? 922. All right. And we have to look at the number formed by the last two digits. Well, it ends in 22. Can 22 be divided equally by 4? And the answer to that is no, because we know that 4 times 5 is 20, and 4 times 6 is 24, but there's nothing in between those two to equal 22. So 922 is not divisible by 4. Okay, for a number to be divisible by 5, the number must end in 0 or in 5. So, I even threw out a big number this time just for the fun of it. 9,112,345. You could spend all day trying to figure out if doing long division and trying to divide by 5, or you could just look at the number in the ones place and seeing how this one ends with a 5, it is divisible by 5. Same thing down here for 9,112,340. Once again, it ends with a 0, so right there you already know that this number is divisible by 5. All right, for a number to be divisible by 6, it has to be divisible by the rules for both, It has to be divisible by the rules for both 2 and 3. So let's take a look at the number 726. Now we know already that for a number to be divisible by 2, it has to end with an even number in the ones column. And 6 is an even number, 2, 4, 6, 8. So we know that this follows the rule for being divisible by 2. Well, what about if we add the 7 plus the 2 plus 6? Whoa, what do we get when we add all of those together? And the answer is 15. Is 15 divisible by 3? Well, yes, it is, because we know that 3 times 5 equals 15. So this number, 726, it is divisible by the rules for both 2 and 3. It ends in 6, so it's divisible by 2. And when you add your 7, 2, and 6, you come up with 15, which is divisible by 3. All right, our next rule is for numbers when we're trying to figure out if they're divisible by 8. The number formed by the last 3 digits must be divisible by 8. So let's take a look at the number 5,000, there's my comma, 242. Can the number 242 be divided by 8? Like evenly, is it divisible by 8? Let's see. I want you guys to try that one in your notes, actually. Divide 242 by 8. See if it is divisible by 8. If it's not, then 5,242 is not divisible by 8. If 242 is divisible by 8, then so is this whole 5,242. What about the number 728? Let's try that. 8. Let's try dividing. See if it is divisible by 8. So let's see here. We know that 8 times 9 equals 72. So we'll subtract our 72. Wind up with 0. Bring down the 8. How many times does 8 go into itself? Well, it goes in there one time. So we know that 728 is divisible by 8. You could even turn it into 67,728 and it would still be divisible by 8. For a number to be divisible by 9, the sum of the digits in the number is divisible by 9. So it's kind of similar to the rule, the divisibility rule for 3s. We have to add all the numbers together, or add all the digits together, and see if it's divisible by 9. So let's see if I get my little pen thingy to work just right this time. The number 1,026. There we go. And so if we add 1 plus 2 plus 6, let's see, 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 6 is 9. Is the number 9 divisible by 9? Definitely. So that means 1026 is divisible by 9. Okay, here we are, finally on our last divisibility rule. And it is to figure out if numbers are divisible by 10. And guys, this one is an easy one. For a number to be divisible by 10, it simply has to end with a 0. That's it. So even down here, you know, we have this whole 1,967,250. All we have to do is take a look at that ones place, see if there's a 0 in it. There is. So that means that this number is divisible by 10. Okay. Goodness. So at the bottom of your notes page that I sent home with you, there is an example down there at the bottom that you've been given. Using the divisibility rules that you just took your notes on and just learned about, I want you to figure out which of those numbers evenly go into 234. And then you circle the little numbers on the page. You'll see it there at the bottom. Make sure you bring all of your work to class tomorrow. Bring all your notes because you are going to need it. All right, see y'all in class.